This was my, remember this one? So you have this, it's like a wall of these things, all these little drawers. And it really helps to have a Japanese speaking and reading person there with you when you do this. But you open up this drawer, and inside you get a fortune. And the fortune looks like this. So this person got fortune number 69. It's a bad fortune. And what it says up close for you is that, no, this is just you got one, but I don't think I did. The clear moon is covered by thick clouds. The sky got dark and doesn't get fine. A red flower decayed to a half. The bad fortune is found among the happiness. Though you want to try and make a thing perfect, it hurt your mind with troublesome matters. They warn you that never think of excessive desire, impossible like sail so far by boat. Well, clearly this is the translation. All right, so this is what, so you make a wish and your request will not be granted. Don't get relaxed. Take care of the patient. The lost article will not be found. The person you wait for will not appear. This is not a good fortune. Building a new house and removal are both bad. It is no good start to a trip. Marriage of any kind and new employment are all bad. This is a bad fortune. And Zach, when we did this, you got a bad fortune. And what did they tell you about getting a bad fortune? What do you do with it, remember?
You burn it.
Ultimately, yeah, they have this wall, so next to the shrine they have these wires, and you take your piece of paper and you fold it up and you wrap it around this wire, and eventually it gets destroyed and disintegrated. And this is how you get rid of bad luck. So they kind of make this twist that, well, bad luck is actually okay because this gives you the opportunity to get rid of your bad luck. So these slides I'm showing you about the shrine, you know, what I got when I went to the shrine was, wow, there's a lot of things to buy there. You know, you can buy prayers, prayer cards, wish you had to pay for those things. Those weren't free. You know, all these different things that you had to buy. And it got me thinking about a story in the New Testament where Jesus comes to the temple and there's lots of things to buy. And so, you guys remember the tabernacle? All right, so you have your altar here, and what did we do with the altar? Remember?
Put stuff on it.
Right. Why were they putting stuff on it?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice, right. Lord told them bring sacrifices, and so they did. So there's the tabernacle, that was similar at Solomon's temple. He has the big altar as well, gold on the inside, but from the outside, it's basically a stone tabernacle. So, what happens in Jerusalem? Where is our story? Where did we leave our guys before Christmas?
That was a while ago.
I know, that's why I'm having to remind you of this. Where did the story go? The children of Israel are in, you know this, because there was the north kingdom. And what happened to the guys in the north? Yep, taken over by the Assyrians, yep. Northern guys with the Assyrians taking over. The southern guys, what happened to them? Babylonians. So the children of Israel are in
Peril.
Babylon. Yes, peril. They are children in peril. That is correct. That's right. And so they are in Babylon, and they're stuck there. They're stuck there. And they got in all this peril because what happened? What did
They
they?
got taken over.
Yeah. Why did they get taken over?
They were doing their thing.
And that was what? Worshiping
False God.
false gods. Right, exactly. It seemed like they weren't doing this stuff right, is what they thought. So, they get back from captivity eventually, and the Lord comes to the temple. So, I'll read you the story. In the order of service is the actual text. This is an amalgamation of the gospel. So, what I'm reading you isn't precise, but it gets the idea. So back in ancient times, Jesus and his disciples came to Jerusalem. And Jesus entered the temple complex, and in the temple courts he found men selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. All right, so think about this, right? They were supposed to do sacrifices. So imagine if there was somebody who had to sacrifice coming to church here. Would it be easier just to buy the sacrifice after church instead of bringing it with you? Well, it would be. So that's what they were doing. So Jesus sees all this happening, but he made a whip of cords and drove them all out of the temple courts with the sheep and the cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers. He turned over all the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. He would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. To those who sold the doves, he said, "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a marketplace." The chief priests and the scribes heard this, and they sought some way to kill Jesus, and they feared him. Then Satan entered Judas, the one called Iscariot, who was one of the 12. And Jesus went to the chief priests and said, "What are you going to give me if I hand him over to you?" They paid him 30 pieces of silver. From then onwards, he began looking for an opportunity to hand him over. So Judas, you might remember, is the one who betrays him at the end and gives Jesus to these guys so they crucify him. But the main point of this story here today is, take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a marketplace. So imagine if I said, all right, when you guys come to church, instead of putting money into a bowl, which you don't have to do, some of us choose to do that, we're going to have a thing where you've got to bring me a bird. Every week you've got to bring a bird when you come to church, and we're going to sacrifice it. We're going to have a fire pit and sacrifice it. Easy to catch a bird? Ever done that before? No, me neither. They're kind of tricky to catch. They move quickly. And so, if you can't catch a bird, you might just say, well, I'll just go to the church and we'll have a whole pile of them and we'll just buy them. Well then, okay, so somebody sells birds, and then the next time, Patricia, she's really good at catching birds. And she says, well, I can bring some birds, and she'll start selling them. Well, then, Ralph says, well, let me tell you, I know how to build a bird trap. So he starts bringing in some birds. And all of a sudden, Patricia, Ralph, me, and we all start selling birds to all you guys who can't catch birds. What does church become? It becomes a place of selling and buying things. You kind of missed the point about what you're supposed to be doing. The point is, you're giving something to the Lord. Does the Lord want us to give him birds? No? What do you mean, no? Dylan, does he want birds? Maybe. What do you think, Liam? No, I just showed you the tabernacle. It has the big altar thing there.
Yes. Yes.
Yes? And you say no. What do you think? Huh? Does the Lord want your birds?
No.
So imagine this. And this 70 years has passed. You've all grown old and you died. And you wake up in heaven. And the Lord says to Liam, since you don't give the Lord any birds, Liam, sorry, buddy, no heaven for you. You didn't give me any birds. Is that what's going to happen?
No.
No, of course not. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Lord's not going to say, no, you sacrifice any birds, you can't go to heaven. No. What's this about then? What does the Lord want? I mean, he made the altars. He had to make the altars, right? To sacrifice birds and cattle and all sorts of things. But he doesn't really want those things, does he? No. So, you remember the story of Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
How many rules did they have?
One.
One rule. And what was that rule?
Don't eat from the tree on the left.
Don't eat from this one tree. One rule, that's it. How many rules did these guys have?
7.
More. I mean, we have 10 of them right here, right? We have the easy 10. There was like 600 rules they had. And among them was all this sacrifice. They needed those rules, though, because they were They wanted to do bad things, so they need lots of rules. Imagine your house. How many rules do you have in your house? Probably a few. And how did those rules come to be? Let's just, I don't know, let's think about it. Maybe you have a rule in your house regarding screen time. Now, if there's a rule in your house about how much screen you can watch, why is that? Is it because you didn't watch enough screen? Or is there a rule because you watched too much screen? Does your parents, so these rules that the Lord has for the children of Israel, why they have it? It's because they need these rules to keep them doing the right thing. He doesn't make rules. He starts off with just one. You guys in your houses could probably get by with just one rule. Maybe Dylan and Leon need a couple extra, you know? But you could probably get by with one rule. Be nice to your brother. Be nice to your parents. Well, 2 rules, right? So what does the Lord really want? What does he really want?
People to follow the rules.
He wants you to be nice, doesn't he? Yeah. Isn't that all? That's the one rule, right? We talked about minor prophets right before Christmas. When you order service, the back page there, it says from Hosea, it says, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Listen, I don't need you to give stuff. I don't need you to burn birds. I don't need you to burn cattle. I don't need you to do that. Be merciful. Be nice to each other. Next one. Jehovah has great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices. Behold, to be submissive is better than sacrifice. To be obedient better than the fat of rams. So what's he saying? Does he want these sacrifices? No. He's like, better to be submissive. So better to do what God says than to give sacrifices. The fat of rams, that's like the expensive part of the ram. It's, oh, this is the good stuff. Hey, it's better to be obedient. Just do what God says. You don't need to give him that stuff. The Lord doesn't want your stuff. And the last one, Micah. With what shall I come before Jehovah and bow myself to God on high? So if you come to church or come to the Lord, what do you bring to the Lord? Shall I come to him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will he be pleased with thousands of rams, with tens of thousands of rivers of oil? He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does Jehovah require of you? To carry out judgment, to love mercy, and to humble yourself by walking with God. He doesn't want much. He doesn't want much. We spent the last couple of days driving from Surfers Paradise to Sydney, and we took the inland route. We saw all of the kind of countryside of Australia. And we saw some kangaroos out there, not many, we saw a couple. What were the kangaroos, what do they do for the Lord?
Jump.
They jump for the Lord, okay?
Eat, sleep.
Eat, sleep.
Repeat.
Repeat. Do they bring the Lord any sacrifices?
No.
Nope. Do they go to church? Nope.
Well, no, they might. You don't know. It's
We
possible.
do know. We do know. I have not seen any kangaroos in church. So,
You're not.
So, does God like the kangaroos? I would say so. He put them there, right? Why don't kangaroos have to go to church? That's not fair.
Because they don't do anything bad.
That's essentially right. Kangaroos don't kill other kangaroos. They don't go around stealing from other kangaroos. You know, one kangaroo doesn't steal the other kangaroo's wife. They don't worship false gods. Right? They don't want what the other kangaroo has. Well, maybe they do. I don't know about that. But kangaroos basically do what they're supposed to do. They go around, they hop, and they eat, and they sleep, and they repeat. But people get messed up. So they have some extra rules, some extra training to go through to level up their experience, right? If they're going to level up that green bar, they've got to do some extra training. And that's why the Lord gives us these rules. So the sacrifice the Lord wants from you isn't money, isn't things. He wants you to give up being a jerk. Right? That's the sacrifice that the Lord really wants from you. Stop being mean. That's it. Last reading here of the day. Burnt offerings and sacrifices in general represent purification from evils and falsities. And since purification was represented, so too was the implantation of goodness and truth from the Lord, and also the joining together of them. When a person has been purified from evils and falsities, which is brought about by the removal of them, so you purify yourself, you get rid of evils and falsities by not doing them, goodness and truth from the Lord flow in. So as you stop being a jerk, you start learning to be good. The Lord gives you that. To the extent that goodness and truth flow in, they are implanted and joined together. For the Lord is unceasingly present with goodness and truth with every person, but he is received only to the extent that evils and falsities are removed. Thus, to the extent that person is purified from them. The joining together of truth and good is regeneration. From this it may be seen what burnt offerings and sacrifices in general represented. But what each represented is specifically clear from the different kinds of creatures that were sacrificed. Alright, so for you guys, there were different animals that were sacrificed, and they represent different things we give up. So birds have one meaning of something you give up. Cows have a meaning of something you give up. Everything has a different thing. Some of us need to give up different things than others. You know, Matthew may need to learn how to stop. What's your problem? You may need to stop lying so much. Maybe Zach's got to learn how to stop stealing.
What?
So Matthew would be sacrificing different animals than Zach. And Dylan, well, I'm not even going to mention what you need to work on. But you might all have different animals, and that's what these different animals that are sacrificed represent, a different thing. Stealing, adultery, all the list of 10 things. So when somebody asks you, what does the Lord want? What does he want? He wants you to just
Be good.
be good. Yeah, this isn't a trick question. This is easy. He doesn't want your birds. Doesn't really want anything from you. Just be nice. Be nice. That's it. Don't make this difficult. Okay? Amen.